Hello, thank you for taking the time to learn more about the 2023-24 tentative agreement reached between Olathe NEA and the Olathe schools. My name is Leanne Rogers, and I currently serve as president of Olathe NEA.
And I'm Angie Powers, she, her, and I serve as vice president, and I teach English and Avid at Olathe Northwest.
So professional council, which makes up the team from Olathe NEA in the district, came to an agreement on May 10th, 2023. The next steps in the process then requires approval by the Board of Education. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the board is June 1st, where we expect the board to take action, and then also ratification of the bargaining unit. So Monday, May 21st, our voting will open for everyone in the bargaining unit. So that is everyone who is certified non-administrative in our school district.
All right. One of the first aspects of the tentative agreement that we want you to be informed of before you do your vote, rather, is we did make some policy changes. One thing that has popped up quite a bit is there are some reasons that an educator may be pulled from their plan period that isn't coverage of another staff member's class. So, for example, maybe there is a student crisis happening or some other unscheduled event. We did not have any language in our negotiated agreement that would allow educators to receive compensation for that. So we have added that language, and we'll look at that language on the next slide. The other thing that we worked on with policy would be grievance. We made a couple of adjustments to the timeline, changing from contract days to calendar days in the timeline for filing a grievance. So just very briefly here, this is the blue edition, is the additional language for plan time. Notice that you have to be asked by an administrator or designee, and you have to agree to it in order to qualify for that payment. So that would be something that is hopefully a rare occasion, not a normal or scheduled thing. We wanted to make sure that educators had the opportunity to be compensated if their time was taken out of their plan. For a grievance, we adjusted some of the timelines, as I mentioned, to file a grievance. And a grievance is something that you file if you believe a policy or the agreement has not been followed. The first timeline that we adjusted is we changed from 15 contract days to 30 days, the amount of time that somebody would have to file a grievance. Moving on, the building principal has 20 calendar days instead of 5 contract days to respond to that grievance. And then finally, the superintendent, who is the final determiner on a grievance, will give 14 calendar days to respond instead of 10 contract days. The interest behind here is we just want to make sure that there was enough time in the grievance timeline for issues to be dealt with at the lowest level, at the building level, if that issue can be dealt with at the lowest level. Next up, we've got compensation. We'll let Leanne take you through the salary schedule.
Thanks, Angie. So you can reach the proposed salary schedule by using this QR code or that tiny URL, so you can refer to that. This proposed salary schedule is a result of the work of the Salary Schedule Committee, which was a joint committee with Olathe NEA and administration present. And really the work was to focus on 3 key issues. One was educator retention in Olathe. One was educator recruitment, and then also fiscal sustainability. So as we look at transitioning to the proposed salary schedule, we were able to bargain that you would take your salary that you're earning currently, you would add a minimum of $750 to that. Then you would move to the column that you're in currently, and then move down 1 level. And there is a calculator out there in a previous email from myself that will help you do that. If you are potentially going to move for columns, you'll need to calculate that on your own. So use the calculator, move horizontally to your new column, and then there's a bonus step or level for those that are moving columns in the 23-24 school year. In addition, as we transition educators who were frozen or maxed out on our current salary schedule in the 21-22 school year. They will be able to have 2 additional levels once they transition. All right, in this transition example, we have an educator who is master's and max minus 13 or step 5, and their current salary is $52,382. The calculator or calculation would then add $750 to that amount, resulting in the next highest cell that they would be placed in, which would be 53,253, and then they would move down 1 level to the green cell with a salary proposed for next year of $54,078. This example is an educator who is MS 24, level max minus 4 or step 14, but they're also going to be seeking column movement. So as you can see, they have a current salary of $68,153. They add $750 and then find the cell in that same column, which adds at least that much. Move down 1 level, they're at the green, but then when they move columns, they're going to move horizontally over to the M36 column and take an additional step, resulting in that blue cell or a proposed salary of $72,808. This example relates to one of our educators who may have been maxed in the MS60 cell on the 21-22 contract. Their salary is still $84,421, and it has been for 2 years. So if you find the cell in that MS60 column with at least $750, that results in the yellow box. They move down 1 level to the green, $86,037, but then they move down 2 bonus levels, resulting in a final salary of $87,072.
Excellent. And just to kind of clarify there, I know there were some questions during some of the info sessions about those bonus steps for people that were at the max level. The reason why the max level is identified as 21-22 is that if you were on max 21-22, in 22-23, you saw no increase. So for example, our president, Leanne Rogers, got to max at 22-23. Leanne Rogers doesn't qualify for the bonus levels because she wasn't frozen. Okay, so kind of keep in mind that's the purpose behind the bonus steps, is trying to make up for the fact that those people were frozen for a year. Anything else on that, Leanne?
You know, a specific example that comes to mind about these staff that were frozen in 21-22, they actually during this year made less on their salary than they did in 21-22, because that was the year that we all received an $850 stipend during the use of the ESSER funds. So these are staff members who actually saw a decrease in their salary for this current contract.
Thank you for that clarification. I know we had several questions about these bonus levels, and we're just trying to acknowledge some of those hardships.
Thank you.
Okay. On benefits, the district went out to bid for medical insurance this year. It is a process we haven't gone through in many years, and it was, even though we are staying with Blue Cross Blue Shield, we found it was a very valuable process because we were in a negotiating kind of mode where Blue Cross Blue Shield were able to kind of address some of our concerns about costs. Even with that, Blue Cross Blue Shield wasn't the cheapest of the options. However, the cheapest insurance company wasn't, the price difference wasn't significantly different enough to make up for the disruption. So professional counsel decided to stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield, so there will not be any changes in your coverage and deductibles and things like that. And the district is also absorbing the approximately $3 million of increased costs. So that's really nice, so that any increase in salary that you're going to see will not be eaten up with an increase in insurance costs. Now, please know that the qualified high deductible insurance plans, and those would be the ones that have the HSA Those deductibles are set by the IRS. We do not yet know what the deductibles will be for those plans because the IRS has not set them. All the other plans, the ones that don't have HSAs, the deductibles will not change, and the district, like we said, is absorbing the increase in premium.
All right, another big part of this tentative agreement includes information that was ratified in November. And so I just want to remind everyone that if we move to a new proposed salary schedule, our ECAS salary schedule will also be tied to that new beginning salary, which currently is proposed at $46,000. That will be a blessing in the future that the extracurricular academic support salary schedule committee does not need to bargain every year to increase that base. It will now be tied to the existing salary schedule base, and any increases in that base moving forward will also yield increases in the salaries that are on that salary schedule. In addition, we're looking at being able to extend longevity from 5 steps to 12 and increase the maximum longevity that a coach or sponsor can earn in a position. Some of the new key positions that were added were a chair for elementary BLT, so that is mirrored by what already exists at the middle school and high school level. So lots of performing arts changes and additions. And then new position this year would be adding a middle school band director at any middle school that's their population or enrollment determines that need. And then also increased compensation for our special services teachers who work extended school year.
Next up, we worked to negotiate some things that will help protect your plan as an educator, your time rather as an educator. One of the things that's specific to elementary in the appendix of the negotiated agreement, there are the scheduling documents for each level. And in the elementary scheduling document alone, there was some language that clarified that special education teachers should have plan time. The intent is they have plan time, but the language was did not guarantee plan time. It allowed some permissiveness. So what we did with that is we struck all that permissive language. In essence, it guarantees that elementary special education educators have the same guarantee to plan time as every other educator in the district. For the secondary teachers, we also were able to negotiate a more reasonable stipend for teaching a 6th period. The original stipend was $1,000, which doesn't even cover having a sub in the room for a semester. So we have changed that to 6% of base. So given that the base would be the proposed salary schedule that we have currently, that would be $27.60 per semester. Please keep in mind that as we in future years, if we are able to negotiate not only step and column, but also a raise on scale, that raise at the base salary will go throughout the whole salary schedule, and that will also increase the stipend for the 6th hour. So we're really working to tie everything back to the actual salary schedule, not some fictitious base that we've used in the past. And then the last thing is in terms of ongoing work, we did make an agreement with the district in last year's bargain. So I guess in the 2022-2023 bargain that by 24-25, there should be a minimum of 30 additional minutes of plan time per AE rotation for elementary. So we will have this upcoming bargain will be the opportunity to figure out exactly how that's going to work. We know that we're going to get extra time. How that's going to look is the part that we'll have to work out. And then in addition, in that same year, we also bargained an agreement that we would spend some time studying paid time off rather than personal versus illness leave. That committee has already started. It's doing its work. It will continue to work. And we will look at this upcoming year as an opportunity that we could perhaps look at going to a PTO model rather than our current system. Anything else, Leanne?
That's it, Angie. It's quite a bit of information, so please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Leanne Rogers, at larogers@olatheschools.org. If you have any questions, happy to help you understand what you'll be voting on very soon.
All right. Thank you for your time.